My passion is baseball. Love baseball. I always did. The smell of the grass, the feel of the mud. Boy, you hit a ball. If you hit a ball right, and they call it the sweet spot, it's like water in a bottle just moving. Started playing softball in bar leagues, and I got noticed by a couple of teams and wound up playing on a traveling softball team for about 16 years. And we played about 150 games a summer. I started to develop sliding like Pete Rose. It was a head-first slide. I'm 6'5", and my playing weight was about 245 pounds. The front of my knees took the brunt of that impact. I was forced to retire due to injuries. Right now I'm 53, and I think I've had 49 operations total. I had a knee replacement, and shortly it got infected. So they took the knee out, and they put me in a leg cast. I couldn't drive a car. I couldn't even sit in the front seat of a car. So my independence was quickly taken away. Finally, the doctor said that he couldn't really help me anymore, and he suggested I go to Duke University Medical Center and Dr. Bolognese. Just one second. That was the best thing that ever happened to me.
When we initially met him, you know, we sort of had hopes of being able to reconstruct his knee and basically do a knee replacement, but we had a lot of concerns that his knee was infected.
The morning of the surgery, Dr. Bolognese and a few other doctors came up to me in pre-op, and they said, we're not going to go with halos, we're going to put a rod in your leg.
What we do in sort of simple terms, you know, is put a rod across the knee joint, and the knee joint heals around the rod.
With a rod in my leg, I still couldn't bend my leg, so I still couldn't drive a car. So I wrote Dr. Bolognese an email. I said I came to a decision. I wanted to get my life back, and I asked if he would remove my leg.
I think you're talking about the one where, you know, Eric asked about it. Sorry. Give me a second, I'll be all right. The email when Eric asked about amputating his leg, and you know, it was real tough to even, you know, read. You know, a lot of what we do is trying to restore function and you know, reconstruct limbs, and we're trying to, you know, we're trying to do things to give people, you know, a better knee or a better hip, and so, you know. You know, the biggest piece that's a challenge, you know, the biggest piece that's a challenge for the surgeon is, you know, is you know, it feels like a defeat a little bit.
I don't know if he made an exception or whatever, but he decided to do it.
It's such a drastic step, you know, it's something that, you know, we always try to avoid these type of operations.
So roughly about a month, 5 weeks later, from that email, they took my leg. And they took the rod out through my hip, and the rod was infected from the artificial knee, somehow. That infected my hip, and a 10-day stay in the hospital turned out to be 4 months.
Everything that could have gone bad for Eric happened to him.
I know he's got some family, but I think they live a ways away, and it was difficult for them to get here. So I think his family became the staff. 6100 was his home.
It's an orthopedic surgery unit. We're rehabbing people to get back on their own. You can't do that by yourself. So almost anybody who agrees to work on orthopedics knows it's a team environment. People every day step up. No matter how busy and how hard, they just do what they have to do to make sure the patient is taken care of.
The initial thing we're trying to work towards is getting him up out of bed and getting moving. We're working specifically on some exercises. We want to strengthen 2 sets of muscles usually to get ready for prosthetic wear for an above-knee amputee.
I brought him to the Center for Orthotics and Prosthetics. He met a prosthetist. They actually looked at prosthetic devices.
We just kind of made him part of the family. We found out he didn't really have many clothes here, so some people went and bought him clothes, some Duke shirts and shorts and stuff.
I may have been alone in my past life, or existing life at that point, but my life just started. I mean, the people there were fantastic. I used to sneak down and buy ice cream for the nurses and bring them up to my room.
We would take our breaks in his room and sit and talk to him and learn more about him.
I used to escape every morning in a wheelchair. Duke's a huge place. My girlfriend Melissa, we met in the hospital.
I was a medical service consultant, so I serviced our machines that were here at Duke. So the week Eric had his amputation, I met him that week. I would just stop by and talk to him.
I met friends that I will have forever there.
He did become very dependent on the staff in the hospital. I was fearful when he left that he would have some depression because he had a safe environment.
I came home to an empty house and I went through a month of depression. That was the hardest part, the depression, because I was surrounded by people 24 hours a day. And when I got home, there was nobody. Nancy Payne and David Ingram, they came by to visit.
There are many that feel an amputation is failure, and it isn't.
I went to visit him as a peer visitor, being an above-the-knee amputee myself. He was very depressed, very down, and I get emotional. Sorry about that. But it was a turning point, I think, because I looked at him. I said, "You're far too intelligent. You're far too strong. You're far too educated, far too emotionally able to get over this. You need to do this for other people, not just for yourself." And he looked at me like, "What do you mean?" Sorry. And I said, "Because you're a valuable person, and you have a lot to give back. You have a lot of people who are looking up to you, who need to see you succeed."
I needed a goal. I went back to my so-called roots of being a ball player and training. And I found this rowing machine called an erg. And I said, that's the goal. I'm going to make it to the Paralympic Games in London.
He trains 5-6 hours a day, and it's amazing.
So I was talking to a fella who sold us a machine, and he goes, they're having the World Indoor Rowing Championships in Boston in February. I said, I'm in. Melissa was with me, and we walked on the arena floors at Boston University. And I was surrounded by military guys missing their legs, and they had their game face on. And as luck would have it, I came in second. I won a silver medal there. I wish everybody at Duke was there. They were in my heart, but I wish they were there to see, to share in that.
We have a close relationship with Nancy Payne, who is absolutely wonderful. She was there to meet him when he got off the plane from Boston.
It was hugely important that he see that I was excited, that Duke was excited for him.
After I got back from Boston, weird thing, got an email from the head coach from the adaptive rowing team for the Olympics or Paralympics, and they invited me to come to Oklahoma City to their training facility.
Have some focus, guys. Really be on it. Relax the upper body. Feeling the press on the blade.
I trained there for 4 days. The problem was I never rowed in a boat before. Boats are small. I don't fit well in the boat. But to see 8 people row a boat that are missing limbs, eyesight, and work as a team in unison, it's just the coolest thing in the world. Maybe it's ironic in nature, but it's the same thing that the people at Duke do. From the people that bring you your lunch, to the people at physical therapy, to the people who make your bed, to the doctors and nurses, they all had one common goal, and that's to get you better. And they did that for me, inside and out. The last Rocky movie, Rocky's a kind of a over-the-hill, aging boxer, and he still has one more fight in him. He says to his son, he goes, "It's not how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Just want people to know from Duke, I'll keep taking as much as life wants to throw at me, and I'm going to keep moving forward. Make them proud. They gave me a brand new life. And it's a lot, well, I can't thank them enough. I love them. They're my family.